Welcome to Big Blend Radio's virtual cafe. Pull up a seat and let's find out who we're having a happy hour conversation with today. Welcome to another happy hour hangout show here on Big Blend Radio. Today we have some awesome guests as always. We've got guests who are in music, in writing, in the environment and nature, traveling, a lot of travel writers and hospitality. So we're going to talk about travel, music, writing, art, you name it. And I'm excited about this one because we're back to having our speakeasy, which is our Big Blend Radio. It was a cafe. Now it's a speakeasy bar. But today we're going to put the bar on the bus and we're going to get on the Big Blend Radio bus. Priscilla, our sock monkey from Nancy and I's Love Your Park store. She's our mascot because quite frankly, Nancy and I hate our photos being taken. We're not good at selfies and Instagram. We're not like that. We don't go to the Grand Canyon and then fall into the canyon. We put Priscilla there and she may fall down. But she'll probably get up. She's quite stylish too. Anyway, she's driving. She's not allowed to drink and drive. So she's driving, but while she's driving, she will be pouring people drinks and making snacks because she's a monkey. She's a sock monkey and she is multi-talented, multifaceted, and she can multitask better than any of us. So right now, we are recording this while we are in Lubbock, Texas, home to Buddy Holly. And, they've even got a park here dedicated to Buddy Holly. So, we got to talk a little music about him. There's a museum for him dedicated to him. And, of course, the Crickets, right? What a good band name, Buddy Holly and the Crickets. All right. So I think we're going to get on the bus and, we're going to go, since we're in Texas, we're going to go up. We're going to go north and then we're going to go west because of course that makes sense. So, we're going to go. Actually, no, we're going to go to South Carolina first because we're going to pick up Jo Clark. She's been on Happy Hour before and she's a regular on Big Blend Radio. She's a travel writer. She's a photographer. She also has a podcast with us that airs every second Sunday. So stay tuned for that. And it's called Jo Goes Everywhere because she does go everywhere. You can also check out her website, Have Glass Will Travel. So she's definitely a happy hour friend here. So how are you, Jo? Do you like our bus? We're here to pick you up in South Carolina. It's a little
pretty
rainy
sharp.
today.
It's a pretty bus.
It is. It is.
Very
it's cleaned
colorful.
out. Yes, it is because, Priscilla's a pink sock monkey.
Well, she serves drinks. What more could we want?
Well, she would like to take your order. What would you like?
Today I would like a white wine. Preferably a Simeon from Mendoza.
Ooh, Simeon. The last time I had that was in Colorado in Palisades area near Grand Junction. And they have a lot of wineries. It's Colorado's wine country and it's fabulous. We stayed at some wonderful bed and breakfasts and did all these behind the scenes wine tours because it was during COVID and wineries were not allowed to be open unless it was a private party. So we had a lot of private parties while we were there and that was fantastic
private
wine.
Parties are the best.
They are. And, it was kind of like being in a speakeasy actually when you think about it. But Jo, before we are allowed to pour you anything to drink your white wine, Priscilla wants to know what the password is to get on the bus properly and be served.
Wiggy.
Wiggy. She's got the wiggy. Now, when you take your first sip, you got a wiggy. You got a wiggy. So,
right.
That's got to happen.
Here we go.
She's got the wiggy. Now, would you like something to eat with that?
Ooh. Yeah. A nice little wedge of brie with maybe some toasted pecans and honey over it.
Oh, you can't tell she's from the South at all. like that. It sounds good to me. Yeah. That sounds good. So we're going to go up north. So everybody hang on to your seats here. We're going to go up north to hang out with Clifford Garstang. And he is it Virginia or West Virginia? I get my Virginias mixed up and now I'm going to get in trouble. Welcome back, Clifford. How are you, Clifford? Cliff, how are you?
I'm doing great. And it's Virginia, although I have to say it's Western Virginia, just so that people don't think I'm down by the coast.
Okay, so there's West Virginia, the state, but you're in Western Virginia.
Right.
So the western part of Virginia.
Right.
And some of your novels, and everyone, you've got to go see his website, cliffordgarstang.com. His latest book is The Last Bird of Paradise. And Clifford is an incredible author. He's been on our shows for years. And now we get to talk to him more frequently on happy hours and all kinds of good shows. His latest episode with us was an author success insider, which was so much fun. Cliff, I loved that conversation about writing. I mean, it was really
too.
Cool.
Yeah, I really enjoyed sharing it with people. We had a great time talking about all kinds of things. So that was fun.
Creativity. It's always important, right?
Right.
Last time you were on the show too, you were on our Art Across America podcast. And you talked about the Virginia Museum of Fine Arts, and you were going to go look at samurai swords and armor and spend some time up there. How was the exhibit? Because we need a follow-up.
It was a great exhibit. The first thing I said to the docent when he was talking to us about the exhibit was that I had seen much of the same material, although not displayed as well as they had it at the museum, but in a Japanese castle in Osaka. And I probably shouldn't have said that because it sounded like I was showing off a little bit, because I guess I was. But anyway, the exhibit was great, and I also had a chance to wander around the rest of the museum, saw some pieces that had been put up recently, including an outstanding Andrew Wyeth painting that I had never seen before. So anyway, it was a fun day down at the museum.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Andrew Wyeth is amazing, isn't he? Did you see George Catlin while you were in there? Did you see any of his art?
I looked, but I didn't see it.
You know, sometimes they may not just have it like, I don't know, sometimes they rotate them. I don't know if it was a permanent on display kind of thing, but I know that they have his art in there. And yeah, I'm so enamored by his story. You know, these artists that go to parks just blow my mind with what they do. But Cliff, before we start driving again, and you know, Priscilla's parallel parked, and I think she might get a ticket, but she wants to pour you something to eat and drink, but she says you need the password. What's the password?
I do believe it's Wiggy.
You enjoy saying Wiggy, don't you? Come on, it is fun to say Wiggy. It is. It is good to say Wiggy. What would you like her to serve you?
Oh, well, I would like a local Chardonnay, please.
Ooh.
From the vineyard where I had my latest book launch celebration. So it's an Oxeye Vineyard Chardonnay.
Ooh. See, I have a funny feeling. Joe, is that familiar to you? Because she's got Virginia roots.
Don't know that vineyard, no.
It's pretty small. It's out here in the Shenandoah Valley, and it's really cool because they have a tasting room in town, but the vineyard is out, about 10 miles out of town. So this tasting
I'll have to visit.
Yeah, come on up.
I'll bring my glass and be right up.
There it is. Well, you're on the bus. We might have to make a detour. Would you like something to eat, Cliff?
Well, the other day when I was drinking at a wine bar in town, I had some very nice sourdough bread with hummus that was beautiful, wonderful homemade hummus, and that would be really good to have with my Chardonnay.
This is sounding good. We got white wine on board. I'm thinking I need some. What time is it when we're recording? I'm ready. Let's go up to Maria Chamberlain. We're going to get that bus rolling. And we're going to go to an area that we've not been to yet. Nancy and I personally on our Love Your Parks tour, which is New Hampshire. We have not been to that wonderful state. And when you go on Maria's website, Oxbow Acres NH, standing for New Hampshire, you're going to see her beautiful inn. It's a sustainable property. I mean, I've been looking at pictures of her inn today, and I'm just like, we have got to go hang out. There's an equestrian center. I know that she knows how to bake because that's how we met her on a show. She came on with other innkeeper friends talking about baking for soldiers on active duty. And we're excited to have her as part of our happy hour gang here. So welcome back, Maria. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you. And I'm enjoying the ride.
Now, are you are you embarrassed about our big, I think it's a pink bus right now. It changes colors. Is the bus okay to be at your beautiful B&B, or are we like going to make your neighbors get a little nervous with this?
No, it's perfect. And actually, at the end of the month, we're hosting our first annual art retreat, and we have lots of artists coming for 4 days at a reduced rate just to come and paint. And it's going to culminate in an art show on August 25th. So a pink bus is just what we need to draw our attention.
Oh, and it's a hot pink, baby. Not like Pepto-Bismol, though. There's like that's a weird look. This is hot pink. This is hot pink, Priscilla pink. What would you like to drink? And you have to do the password for Priscilla to pour.
Well, wiggy, and I'm going to stay on the white wine and have a Riesling.
Ooh.
And yeah, and if that monkey can manage, since she's on we're in the mountains, but if she can go a little farther east over to Maine, which is just across the river, and get to the coast and get me some bacon wrapped scallops, that would be perfect.
She can do that. And then look, she's already done it. Like, did you guys even feel that? She didn't even go over any potholes. I can tell you where the potholes are in the country, but she did really good. You've already got them. You're happy, right? And
very happy.
this is exciting. We've got all the way up to New Hampshire. And what is the town where you're based for people to know where the inn is?
It is in Milan, New Hampshire, not Milan.
Because that's why you're saying it, not me.
It is pronounced Milan, and it took me a while to pronounce it the right way. I had to think, wow, when we close on this property, it will be my land.
What led you to become an innkeeper and buy a property and say, I'm going to have people come over and hang out with me all the time?
Oh, that's a loaded question. That's because we have a large family. We have 7 kids, ages 38 down to 17, and lots of grandkids and lots of foster grandkids because 2 of my girls foster. And we weren't planning to move, but when we found this property, it was something. It was like everything we'd kind of talked about over many years of marriage. Like, wouldn't it be nice to have a place where everybody could gather and there were lots of bathrooms?
It's always about the bathroom.
Yes. And my husband always wanted waterfront. So we have some land across the street on the Androscoggin River, which is beautiful. And yeah, it's kind of a long story, but we are really happy to be here. And then we realized it had been operating as an inn before, but we don't always get everybody together very often, just a couple of times a year, really. So if it could be run as an inn in the sorry shape that it was in before, then we thought if we renovate it, we could turn it into a really nice B&B. So, when you have when you have 7 kids, you cook all the time anyway, and you cook for holidays. So it's easy to cook and clean. It's kind of like second nature here. So
yeah, it's hard work. Innkeeping is really difficult. We've insat for friends before, and I think you were on the show with Steve and Karen Wilson from the Lion and the Rose Bed and Breakfast in Asheville, North Carolina, which we're going to be on our way to soon. And Tiffany's, we're actually on our way to Tiffany's tomorrow. Bed and Breakfast in Arkansas tomorrow. We'll be going there. But we actually insat for them 3 times. First time it was a joke. It was like a dare. And it was like we did an innkeeper insider story, and then we ran the inn, and it's an old Victorian. It's beautiful. And suddenly Nancy was in the kitchen cooking. It's a tiny kitchen because it's a Victorian, it's like a mansion. And then I did the rooms and did all the guest stuff, and I had to keep the door closed to the kitchen because everybody had to be served at the same time. And Nancy cooking in a small kitchen, having to have everything served on time, and guests changing, like suddenly having dietary issues they've never had before, going, oh, well, I'll have I want an omelet. I want this. All I can say is, my mom has wonderful language at times, so I had to keep the door closed a lot, but, she did it, and we served them, and we've done it 3 times now. And I want to just give my hat off to every innkeeper in the planet, because it is a lot of work. It is so much work because you're keeping up a property. Everything has to be cleaned at a specific time for check-in. It is so much attention to detail, and it is also incredibly rewarding. when things are going right. I mean, there was a honeymoon couple that was there the very first time we were hosting it. I'm like, oh my gosh, we cannot mess up the honeymoon. We cannot. Like, everything has to be 100%. And they were the most relaxed, coolest couple, just wanting to go hiking in the Blue Ridge Mountains. So it is it's wonderful, but you guys all rock. We're going to go west now. We're going to go from New Hampshire to Arizona to Judy Carnia. Judy is a travel writer. She is a nature therapy guide. So watch for her podcast coming out with us on our Nature Connection show on the fourth Friday of August. She talks about forest bathing. And also she is a retired feline veterinarian. So she knows all about cats and animals, and she's super cool to chat with. And welcome back, Judy. How are you?
Thank you. I'm good. I hope you have the air conditioning turned up on the bus.
Yeah.
Listen,
it's
a little warm here.
It's a little warm, and I want people to be able to see where you are. So go to judycarnia.com, and that's Karnia, judycarnia.com. Judy, what is the password?
Wiggy.
See, Wiki it's fun, isn't it? Does it make you smile saying it? Come on, it is. Yep. All right. So what can Priscilla pour you? I have a feeling it's not going to be hot coffee or something hot.
Oh, no, I've already had my hot tea for the day. So I will go for a mojito.
Oh, a mojito. That sounds refreshing. That sounds really good right now, even in Texas, huh? Yeah. Mojito. And so now, do you have any good cocktail bars that make, like, you can say, I'm going to go here for a mojito in Scottsdale? You have everything in Scottsdale. What am I talking about?
Yeah. There's so many different restaurants and bars. Yeah. Lots of great places to hang out here. But, the mojito, I kind of got on a kick on that. I was just in Lisbon for 3 weeks, and, Portugal has lots of good wine, but sometimes I wasn't in the mood for wine, and it was hot out, and a mojito is just nice and refreshing on a hot day. So I kind of got into those while I was there.
What would you like to eat with your mojito?
Oh, just some fries would be great.
All right.
Fries.
Yeah. Do you want her to go to McDonald's? I will tell you that McDonald's fries will last forever and through anything.
Oh. Yeah, no, that's okay. Actually, if we're going to go out, it's In-N-Out Burger here. If you want to get some fries.
See, that's
what's stop at the In-N-Out Burger.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. That's
fresh. So
yeah. In-N-Out Burger is really good for at the end of cocktail time too. That's a good munchies. Yeah. I like that. Well, we're going to head more west. We're going to go to, it's not even a term, more west. We're going Western. How about that? I know there's authors and travel writers. And Joe used to teach, so I know I'm in trouble with whatever I say. But Cheryl Lujan is out in, California, beautiful Southern California, Los Angeles area. She is an author and speaker. She was on our show first time talking about her book, Love Earth Now. And you will hear her on our women's podcast, as well as Joe is on that, and Maria coming up. That is a show that we do every fourth Wednesday. It has a panel discussion, even though that show, Women Making History, has, that's a daily show. But welcome back, Cheryl. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I want you to know that the interior of the bus is all done from reclaimed things.
I love it.
Yeah.
I was hoping it was an electric bus too, by the way.
Well, actually, how do you think the French fries got to Judy?
Yeah.
She's been using biofuel in the back.
Perfect.
We're running on chip oil, but no, you don't call it chips here. My brain went to a different country. French fries oil. But it's peanut oil, because we cook our French fries in peanut oil because it's quick burning and it's better for you. And our friends over at the Peanut Patch in Yuma, Arizona, they have a lot of peanuts. So we have peanut oil that's running the bus. Is that okay, Cheryl?
That's fantastic.
So what is the password?
It's Wiggy.
Uh-huh. And what can we serve you?
I would like to have a hard kombucha. I'm a big kombucha drinker. And there's one that's my particular favorite is called Island Vibes because it's got like pineapple and also has some blue-green algae in it, so I can pretend like it's a health drink.
But it's hard. So there's like, is it like it's fermented into liquor, or do they add stuff to it?
It's like if you let kombucha, which is usually like 1 or 2%, if you just buy it at the grocery store, alcohol. If you let it go, it's like 6% alcohol. So it's like a beer. I did not know.
Yeah, I've had kombucha before, but I didn't know it had any kind of percentage in it. But I was smiling. I enjoyed it. Last time I had that was in Grand Rapids. Another bed and breakfast, the Leonard at Logan House, bed and breakfast, a beautiful old brownstone house right next to a house that was designed by Frank Lloyd Wright, and his apprentice and him got in a fight, and he walked off, and the apprentice had to finish the house because Frank Lloyd Wright apparently was kind of a hard person to work with, from what I've read and heard. So yes. I don't know, but it's an interesting house. Yeah. So everyone, CherylLutzen.com is the website to go to, and that is LEUTJEN. Everyone's links are in the episode notes. And we're not going to go too far from Cheryl to get to, where Pasadena, right? Johnny Schaefer, award-winning vocalist and composer, is back on the show. He co-hosts our Big Daily Blend podcast every first Sunday. He's been on our show for years, but how are you doing, Johnny?
I'm doing great, and I'm so happy to see Priscilla. It's been a while, actually, for me that I haven't seen her, so it's going to be really fun. I'm glad she's driving again, and that's great.
Yeah, she took kind of a little resting period, and then we thought, it's time for you to get back to work. And she's happy to see you too, and she wants to know what the password is.
Well, we're getting wiggy with it, so it's wiggy.
It's wiggy, and what can she pour you?
Well, I'm actually going to be going to the gym in a little while, so I'm going to forgo alcohol right now, but I love some agua fresca, and I like pepino, the cucumber flavor, and actually my husband Paco made some salsa for us, a homemade salsa, the salsa verde and the red salsa, and I got some chips from a local tortilleria here, and don't put your heads out the window because it's really hot here. We actually got a heat advisory. So just stay cool. And if anybody wants chips and salsa, there's plenty of it.
Well, thank you for bringing that. Cheryl, we didn't ask what you wanted to eat. Do you have something that you would want?
Well, actually, I was going to ask for some really crusty bread and something called bitchin' sauce, which is like wiggy is fun to say, fun to order, and it's also just really delicious. It's made with cashews and lots of spices, and you just wouldn't believe how addicting it is. Plus, it's bitchin'.
So we're basically it's a bitchin' ride right now. Cliff, as an author, are we allowed to use some foul language here and there, or some naughty language? And you have to balance it out, right?
Yeah, please do.
Okay. Okay. So language is okay. Maria, at the bed and breakfast, you're not allowed to, are you? That's a no-no.
We try to keep it toned down a little bit.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Nancy's gotten better about kitchens and guests. But we never got caught. So that was good. That was a good thing. So let's talk a little bit about travel. We've gone across the country. Judy, you just said you came back from Portugal. And so I think that's really exciting. Where is your next destination that's outside of America for you?
I'm not sure, but I'm hoping to go back to Portugal. I really loved it. And I've only been to Lisbon and Porto and that kind of area. So I want to go down to the Algarve next and check that out.
Now, Clifford, I heard that you are planning another big international trip.
That's true. I'm leaving, I think, 3 weeks from tomorrow for Ireland for just 10 days. It's a pretty short trip. I've been so busy this year and have a lot of things scheduled for the rest of the year that I needed to find some window of travel opportunity. So I found 10 days, and I'm going to go see Dublin and Galway and points in between, I think. And speaking of Portugal, I'm currently reading a book by Jan Martel, who you probably have all heard of, The Life of Pi. But a book that he wrote after that is called The High Mountains of Portugal. And so it's mostly set there, and it's weird. It's just a very strange book. But it's interesting. Anyway, there's a monkey or a chimpanzee who's one of the main characters. So,
well, this is sounding good. We got a barrel of monkeys going on this show. Priscilla's excited about that. Did you see any monkeys when you were there, Judy?
No, I didn't see any monkeys.
Well, when you were in Costa Rica, because you were recently in Costa Rica, did you see them there?
I saw sloth and we saw toucans and lots of birds, but we actually did not get to see any monkeys.
Well, Joe Clark's recent podcast, which has aired when this airs, has already passed, and it's every second Sunday. She's got a wonderful article about Etosha Pan or Etosha National Park in Namibia. When you were there, because we didn't talk about monkeys too much, but you did have red wine that had a monkey on the label. Did you get to see any vervet monkeys or anything like that in baboons when you were in Namibia, Joe?
Baboons, one of the areas we drove through 2 different times, we saw monkeys all along the side of the road in each direction. So we need to look for them the second time. But that was the only place that, that's the only place we saw monkeys. We saw everything else.
But not, baboons can get you too. I mean, we've been chased by them, and we went to the tip of Africa. And so you have the 2 oceans meeting, and you go down there's kind of 2 tips of Africa. One is where Vasco da Gama landed. Speaking of Portugal, a lot of Portuguese in South Africa. And then you've got the actual tip of Africa that you can go down and hike a little bit when you come back up, and you are near where there's this little food vendor place. The baboons are everywhere and they will chase you. And so when they give you, you wanted French fries or something, they basically throw them at you, and you better grab them and run to your car, because the baboons will come after you for the food. It's crazy. It is absolutely crazy, but it's fun. I want to say, Johnny, because I know you go to Mexico with Paco, Mexico City a lot. Aren't there monkeys out there in the jungles of Mexico? I haven't done the jungle side of it. I don't know if you've seen any monkeys.
We did quite a bit of hiking, and I can't say that we did see any monkeys. We saw a lot of really cool birds, and actually one time we were hiking along this river, and this dog just started following us, and he followed us the whole way, and there was 10 of us, and then when we got to the end, he posed with a picture for us, it was like he knew what we were doing, and he just sat right down and smiled for the picture, and then just ran off.
That's so funny.
But monkey wise though, I didn't see any down there. Yeah.
I want to go up to Cheryl. Cheryl, do you travel internationally at all?
I haven't in a while. It's kind of funny you asked me that, because I'm working on a chapter for the new book called The Unbucket List, and trying to let go of feeling the need that I have to go places to make my life somehow complete. So I'm trying to make peace with, and I do enjoy really local travel. I mean, I do live in California, so I have a lot of options of places to go without technically leaving the state. But, I'm concerned about emissions, and also this sense of there's certain things that I have to do before I can call my life good, and being more appreciative of just where I am today.
There's something to that. It's, being raised in different countries, I love to travel and globally, and, but, there is something about learning your backyard, and what we find is traveling from place to place, which we do sustainably. I mean, we pet sit. So we're sitting in taking care of someone's home and pets, not moving the pets out into a kennel. Judy, that's a good thing, right? Dogs and cats do not like to be kenneled, most of them. It's nice to have them in their own routine. Is that okay, Judy? You're the vet.
Yeah. Yeah, many of them do. Yeah, prefer to be home.
Have their
Some
routine.
folks don't
Some
mind it,
animals, some are cool. Some are super fine
Mhm.
about going out. Most
Yeah,
of the animals that we
so,
pet sit are rescues and have um, rescue animal things to deal with. And so that's what we kind of specialize in a lot.
yeah.
And because we have the patience for animals, like, they're everything. But when you travel, you're taking the place where someone was already here. So you're still traveling on the way there, but then it's kind of like we're actually living within communities. So to us, we feel like this is a very sustainable way of travel. And it's, it sounds crazy because we're here, then we're there, but when we're in some place, we're actually living like locals. And we still do hotels and bed and breakfasts and things, obviously, but it's very much there's a way to be, and I think there's a way to travel sustainably in how you do things. But our country has so much to offer. And from when we go to communities, what we often find, which is a sad thing, is that the locals have forgotten what they have in their backyard and don't frequent it as often. I think COVID changed a lot of that. And then when like a newcomer comes in, then they're excited to show off their community. And they're like, well, I haven't been here since, when my kids were here, or something like that. So, Maria, any points on that as an innkeeper in the world of hospitality on, being sustainable in the tourism world?
Well, we talked a little bit about that the other day, just when you're hiking. And again, I saw another article today where in Acadia National Park, they caught on camera, there were 3 hikers in an area that was well marked that during certain seasons of the year, it's off limits because it's the peregrine falcon mating area. And they got pictures of these 3 hikers and kind of zoomed in and said, if you have any information, let us know, because people are not supposed to be here. So it's wonderful to want to enjoy beautiful mountains and the outdoors or beaches or what have you. But you need to pay attention to signage. It's there to protect the species that are native to that area, and just take your trash with you always.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and takes other people's trash out too. There's so many cool programs on that. I want to go to you, Joe. In travels, do you look at that sustainability? We touched on this, I know, on the other show, but it's kind of a thing. I mean, as we travel, we can keep our footprint lighter. We can look at doing, even, when we think about transportation, we can get on a local bus with everybody else and meet locals that way, right? Do you ever do that kind of thing?
I do. I do a lot of walking tours. I do local tours. I love doing that. I love it when I write an article about a place and the people who brought me there read the article and say, I didn't know that. So that's always my goal, is to have something in my article that they don't know about.
Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about. It's true. We find that all the time.
Yeah, like
we'll
you
find
said,
things
right in their backyard, and they don't go.
Well, we'll find something and people go, oh, you find that of interest. We're like, yeah, man. Like, you look what you have. And we find that things just get taken for granted. Johnny, about you traveling, because I know you do, and I know you're getting ready to go to Europe this year too. Do you look at sustainability when you travel?
Yeah, we travel pretty lightly, and don't want to carry a bunch of luggage around, and I mean, obviously, for us, we to get over there, we are going to need to fly, but once we're there, we generally just kind of travel really lightly so that we can just focus on having fun, and we just tend to bring a couple pairs of pants and a few shirts, and and just wash them out wherever we're staying. And we also like to we have friends in Europe, so we try to stay with them. It's kind of, I have to compare notes with Cliff, because he's the 5th person that I know that's gone to Ireland this summer, and we decided yesterday that we're going to spend a few days, maybe a week in Ireland. And Gayla, who's been on your show, Gayla Turner, she is going next week, and they're going to do I guess there's a tour where you they'll take your luggage from one place to another, and then you bike, and so they're going to do that. And so we were looking at that, that might be a lot of fun. But we're going to go to the same cities that you mentioned, Cliff, and so we'll have to, to pick your brain about what you're going to do. And so, yeah, we're really excited about it.
I'm going to send you both some articles on Ireland. A lot of people on our shows have talked about them. In fact, we'll probably do a special magazine on it. Ireland, Scotland, Wales, England. Glenn Burrows from Norfolk Tours, I'm going to give him a shout out. He really helps with a lot of that. But, the cool thing of some of those countries where there's like the coastal walking path in Wales, England has them like Peddar's Way, which you're actually walking on ancient Roman roads, which is amazing, right? It's like crazy, and it's lifted up on sides. And, if there's a bustle in your hedgerow, don't be alarmed. But anyway, when you go walking on these trails, I mean, England, Scotland, Wales are just gorgeous, and green.
Oh, yeah.
But you can be walking on these paths, and you go stay from one to the other place, and like the cycling, and there's tour companies, and it's really cool to work with small local companies that have attention to detail, because you're often supporting a small business, which was when you talk about sustainability, it helps in regards to the environment to work with small businesses. These, even when we look at cruise ships, these small cruise ships versus the big cities that float, all of that. There's these choices we can make as we travel, that, it's just every choice we make can do something a little bit better. Cliff, have you been to Ireland before?
I have not.
Ah, cool. I'm sending you an article. Debbie Stone did in-depth stuff there. And she kissed the Blarney Stone, which is important to do. You have to, I'm just saying, you don't have to, but you might want to. But, there's ferries in Ireland and in Wales and Scotland. Like, there are ferries. And I want to go for the ferries. Like, honestly, because I think ferries are real. So I know everyone's going to think I'm weird, but I want to go because of all the fairy lore and the fairy tales. Well, if you get into like fairy tales, a lot of them are really grotesque and creepy, but the fairies are fascinating, and there's fairies around the world, and they're all different. And in Mexico, they have fairies, and they will pinch your butt. There's male fairies who will pinch your butt. They do. They pinch people. But anyway, that's a whole other story. But Cliff, when you travel, because you've lived in different countries, you lived in Asia, worked in Asia. Do you look at it sustainably and think of the environment when you travel? Do you have any certain practices?
Probably not as much as I should. Although, for example, in Ireland, I'm not renting a car, which a lot of people do because they like to drive around the country. But I prefer to walk around villages and cities. So to get from Dublin to Galway, I'm taking a train. I love surface transportation in Europe. It's fantastic, buses and trains especially. So that's one small contribution that I can make. And I also love public transportation in European cities. Dublin doesn't have a subway, but apparently they have great trams, and I love trams. So that's one thing that I do. And backing up to monkeys a little bit.
Cool.
I've been to Mexico a number of times to a small village called Tepoztlan, which is southeast of Mexico City. And I didn't see monkeys, but they have these really cool animals that they have a word for that I've forgotten. Coatimundi.
Quadamundis. We have them in southern Arizona too.
So they're sort of like raccoons, but there's a little temple on a small mountain above the village of Tepoztlan where they will just run over you. There are so many.
Yeah, we went there.
Are they really? Oh my gosh.
We saw those. Yeah. Yep.
That's cool.
Yeah, they're really cool.
Yeah.
That is super cool. Quadamundis, we have them in southern Arizona. You can see them even Saguaro National Park. You can see them. The Chiricahua Mountains, especially Chiricahua National Monument, you'll see them. And speaking of that, that's Judy. in Scottsdale, LDV Winery, they're one of our favorite wineries in the country. And we do a show with Peggy every first Wednesday. Peggy Fiondaka, her and her husband Kurt own the winery, and their winery is actually right outside Chiricahua National Monument. We went to visit the winery itself. We spent the night with them. They made this wonderful wine pairing dinner. So we're right on the farm style, right? Because the winery is only open by appointment, and they even let they work with Harvest Host, where people who have self-contained RVs and stuff can stay there. So it's really cool. They're very environmental friendly, sustainable. They're vegan. It's amazing. But they're tasting rooms in Scottsdale, but they're right next to where you can see Quadamundis. Judy, do you get Quadamundis up as far as Scottsdale?
No, I don't think so. I mean, we have a lot of coyotes, but
you get coyotes.
And we definitely have rattlesnakes, but I haven't seen any Cotamundis, but I have been to LDV tasting room. Arizona has really improved their wine scene. A lot of wineries started up recently in Arizona, and good wine. I mean, not all of it, but a lot of it is very good.
There's all the way up through Cave Creek. So I know you're traveling to Sedona today. So like on the way up there's wine and stuff, right? So that's pretty cool. So we got to get Joe Clark out there, because I know she's got her glass and she'll be stopping everywhere on this. Let's talk a little music. Okay. So because music is part of this, you all write in some way, books or travel writing. Okay. Maria, I'm sure you do some writing somewhere, right? Of menus and, even for your website.
Blogs. I'm just not very good about being consistent, but yes.
Well, maybe we'll get you spurred on here. So let's talk about music, because Johnny is a songwriter and a composer and an amazing vocalist. And, when we think about happy hour, just feeling good, let's think about music. Have you seen anything lately or heard anything lately that you're just like, man, this is super cool, that you think people should either go and experience? Maybe it's a performance, or listen to it, whether it's, streaming or actual album. Let's go from there. Johnny, let's start with you. Have you heard anything recently or been to a show that we should know about?
Well, there's when we were in Puebla, Paco's sister and brother-in-law have a house in Puebla, and there was this. We were just walking through the town, and we heard this live band playing. It was like in the afternoon, and so we kind of peeked in, and they kind of waved us in, and there was about maybe 12 or 15 guys in this banda group, and they're called La Banda Hybrid, and we sat and listened to them for about 20 minutes. And then I follow them on Facebook now, and they're always going all over Mexico doing a lot of performances, and they just have a lot of heart, and their music is very cool, and it's really fun to dance to. And I can send you the link if you want for the show notes, but they are on Facebook, and they post a lot of videos of themselves playing, and it's a lot of fun, and like I said, real fun to dance to.
I love Mexican music. I love that about when we lived in Mexico. I love the music. I adore it. I love it. What about you, Cheryl? Do you like music?
Absolutely. Music gets me through most days.
Yeah, no, it is. Life without music, I mean,
it's good therapy.
I don't understand that. I don't understand anybody who doesn't like music. So if you don't like music on the show, I'm really sorry, but I just don't understand. Like, it's everything. It's everything to me. It's like as important as nature, and there wouldn't be music without birds and nature inspiring it, right? So have you got any music experiences you want to share?
I rely on music for my therapy when things get. I have a go-to playlist for different scenarios.
What do you like?
When I'm angsting about what's going wrong in the world, then I have different. It's a very eclectic mix, and a lot of it I'm really bad about remembering names. Songs. I just know what's on. There's that playlist and that playlist, and also my kids now are turning me on to some more current selections than what was on my usual playlist. But I don't like anything too loud. I'm too old now, but I like something that's really inspiring, and if it's preferably with some uplifting lyrics, because there's enough bad news in the world already.
Yeah, no. Uplifting is good. We need it. We need that balance. I think things may be getting better. Who knows? I think, if people can come together over likes instead of dislikes, maybe we can,
Yes, please.
maybe we need more happy hours and wiggy time in the
Yes.
world.
Oh, wow.
Everybody
More pink
needs
sock monkeys.
more wiggy. I mean, if people just walked around saying wiggy, they'd be smiling all day. I mean, that's what we want. What about you, Judy? What's your musical taste, and do you have a band or a show that people should see?
Yeah, my favorite type of music is live music.
Me too.
I like most music except country, but I can kind of listen to anything that's live, and that was one of the best parts about Lisbon. I went to a Fado show, but
did you really?
Yeah, which was really good. But it's like every day, just out on so many street musicians in the little parks. They have little parks everywhere, and the Miraduros, which are the viewpoints. And people just set up and start playing music, and so all different types, and it's just cool to just hang out and listen to them.
We need to have dropped the busker laws in this country. I'm sorry, but it's ridiculous.
Busking is amazing.
They need to let buskers be free to play and stop trying to tax them, because it's just not that much money in it. And it just makes, like, if you're walking downtown and someone's playing music outside a shop, it makes you feel so much better. I remember during the pandemic, when everything had closed up and we were in Grand Junction, and there was this band playing downtown, and they have, like, in this historic downtown, it's a city, but it doesn't feel like one. They have, like, I think 300 pieces of public art, amazing art too. And there was this band playing, like, they'd taken, like, a cafe kind of seating area, and it just distanced everyone, but this band was playing and they were standing apart from each other. And you realize just how, like, it was like the first live music we'd seen for a few years. Like, really, you know what I mean? It was like, oh my gosh. I think the last time we saw live music was in Colorado at the Greeley Blues Festival, and that was incredible. But I mean, everybody, you could just see everybody were, oh my, thank you. It was like we were all getting medicine and feeling so much better about the state of the world with this band out there and just performing. And it was odd because it wasn't, but we need to be nice to buskers. They're incredible. I mean, to get out there in the street and perform. Maria, what's the music scene in Milan? Did I say it right?
Actually, I just had a new neighbor introduce herself to me, and she said, "You know what you need to do here? You need to host karaoke." Because there's not a whole lot to do in Milan, and she said it would be fun for people. But I am the daughter of a musician, music teacher, originally from California, Los Angeles, and my dad used to play in the Huntington Park Orchestra many years ago. And
wow.
And I grew up going to the Hollywood Bowl, and so I have a very diverse.
That's amazing.
I listen to all kinds of genres. So, but I have to put a shout out. I had somebody reach out to me, and her name is Amy Shea, and it's spelled like Skjei, and she is a nurse who took a break from being an RN and is composing and promoting music while she's raising her family. And her youngest daughter has Down syndrome, and she sent me her playlist, and it's beautiful. It's kind of new age, easy listening solo piano music. But if you have a chance to listen to Amy Shea, Skjei, it's really nice listening, especially for a bed and breakfast.
That's nice. Yeah, music and breakfast it can set your day, The first thing you play musically in the morning can just set everything on the right, no matter what, I love that, Cheryl, that you have a playlist for different things, I feel like that's so
different traumas.
Yeah, it is, it's we need the Wiggy Butt song. That's what,
In fact, I've developed a playlist to go just with some of the more difficult reading chapters in my new book that have a lot of hard facts to accept. I created a playlist just for reading along with my book.
Oh, that's awesome. For Love Earth Now?
For a new book that I'm working on.
The new one that you're working on.
Yeah.
Cool. We like that you're writing another book. That is cool. Clifford, I know you love music.
It's true. I do. And my small town has all kinds of music. It's really amazing what we do. There isn't much jazz or blues, but there's bluegrass, there's country. In fact, the town is where the Statler brothers came from, so they sort of made the town famous. It's Stanton, Virginia. But what I really get into, even though I'm not very knowledgeable about classical music, is we have these two festivals every summer, and the first one has just concluded, and it's fantastic. It attracts world-class teachers and students from the best conservatories around the country, and they're here for 6 weeks, and there's a concert or two every day for 6 weeks, and I made it a point of going to as many of those concerts as I can. So that was fantastic. And if I can refer you to their YouTube channel, because they streamed a lot of it, and then they're also doing a better quality recording of most of the concerts too. And it's the Heifetz International Music Institute is the name of it. So I recommend that.
Yeah.
And also the book that I'm working on now is I can't say it's actually based on a symphony, but there is a symphony sort of in the background, a famous symphony that I'm not going to name, until I win the Pulitzer Prize or something. But in the meantime, I do listen to that while I'm writing, because it needs to be in the background in my head, at least while I'm working on it.
Yeah, no, that's to listen to. Yeah, writing and having music, like when you work, it's important to have the right kind of music. Otherwise you won't work. There's a Bonnie Raitt album I have that I can listen to on loop 48 hours and I just work. I don't know what it is. I know every part of every song, but it's such a good album that it just is part of me now. It's like every time, like when we were back in the print days of production, like there was no messing around with print times and getting your publication. You had to get it done. And we burned many, all I can say is we don't get a lot of sleep in our industry at all, Nancy and I at all. And, if it wasn't for that album, it's like my body is almost trained like hypnosis. If you hear that music, get to work. That's it. And it happens. It's quite wild about music. And I know that they say, like, if you're studying, to have Baroque music in the background, because it helps your mind from wandering. Does it help you as a writer to have the music in the background?
It definitely does, as long as it's not with words. So,
yeah.
And it isn't always classical. I also like to listen to solo piano. That's a great way for me to block everything out. I also like to work in coffee shops, and sometimes coffee shops can get very noisy. So having something to listen to in the earbuds is really helpful too. And since we talked about
you're people watching there, aren't you? When you're in coffee shops, you're people watching.
Yeah,
I know you are.
I should be eavesdropping on their conversations and writing them down too, but I'm there for other things. Since I'm going to Ireland, I've already booked an evening of being taken around to pubs for traditional Irish music. I'll do that both in Dublin and in Galway. Cool. So it'll be fun.
That's cool. That is cool. Joe, what about you and music? I know you like music. I know.
I do. I like beach music, of course. I love jazz, but Cliff, Stanton, I was going to get around to asking you where in Virginia, because I was born and raised in Virginia, but Stanton, really? I'm a Mary Bowen grad. So my cousin, Lisa LaPrade, is a singer-songwriter in Nashville. So of course I do like country. Lately I have heard the Paul Grimshaw band locally twice, and I'm looking at another 2 dates in August. It's a local band, but they play everything. Although in July, I kept talking to him and saying, Christmas in July, it's a big thing. It's on TV and everything. Everybody has Christmas in July movies and sales. And I think tonight y'all should sing Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer. And he said, you're right. We should, but we're not. So I could not talk him into it, but I really need to hear that song. And now funny. Here it is, August.
Yeah, well, I remember when we had our band and this lady who had a little bit too much wiggy came up and demanded, because we would do Mustang Sally as a soundtrack thing, the song Mustang Sally. And she came up and she's like, I refuse to tip your band if you do not play Mustang Sally. And our band was terrible. We just we laughed at everything. Really. And she had like a little hissy fit over Mustang Sally. Like, really, that's like asking for Freebird, and people do. They want Freebird everywhere. Like, Johnny, does that happen to you? Like, they want certain songs. Like, I want this, it's like, Joe, I'm just saying, I'm just saying, don't be like that. I'm just kidding. I'm messing with you.
I really wanted to hear a Christmas song. Because they do. Well, then you got
to hang out with Johnny. Johnny's got plenty of Christmas songs, don't you, Johnny? You could.
Yeah, I have a funny story about that. I sang at Blessed Sacrament Church in Hollywood for many years, and there was one Sunday it was a Saturday evening mass, and they were using a wireless mic, and somebody in the area was having a Christmas party, and they were on the same frequency. So somebody was praying, and all of a sudden we heard chestnuts roasting on an open fire, like throughout the church. And then a few minutes later, it was actually Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer. And they kept trying to turn it off.
It's a popular song.
Well, but that's interesting because organs, when Nancy and I used to teach musical organs, I have to say musical organs and perform and all of that with them. And certain older organs like Wurlitzers are known, like the older ones, they would, if there was something going on with cops or something like that, or ambulances, you could hear them the sirens and the signals and conversations would come through the organ. Isn't that weird? It's just weird. Yeah. All of a sudden, it's like a CB radio coming out of an organ. Mm-hmm. I think it's cool. I want a CB radio. Oh, speaking of that. All right. All of you like to travel in different ways. If you had a CB radio that you could talk to people while you're driving, now you'd be nice, y'all. What would you name your CB radio? Because Nancy and I have to get one. We've been threatening to do this for years because we want to say hi to truckers. I don't know. Maybe we'll get ourselves.
You mean yourself? You mean what would you have yourself named? Your handle?
Yeah. What would your handle be? Your CB radio name.
I was the little lady.
Yours? You had one?
Still have.
Oh, Joe, we got to hang out when we get to South Carolina again. We got to hang out.
I haven't used it in years, but yes, I was the little lady.
The little. Wow. I want to just go and make sure about this because this is fun. The little lady, Cheryl, what would your name be on a CB radio handle?
The first thing that popped in my mind was Out of My Way, but I think that's probably not a good message.
That's funny.
So I would go with Love Earth. That's my handle for a lot of things.
I like that.
It's a better message.
What about you, Judy? She's going to do a coyote yelp. You have to listen to her interview on that.
Catwoman.
Yeah, I don't know. Cat lady, I guess, but I don't want to talk to anybody when I'm traveling. I just want to listen to music and
road trip music. Yeah. Road trip music and podcasts. That's a good thing. But yeah. Now, what about you, Cliff, if you're going to have one?
I used to have a blog that was called Perpetual Folly. So maybe that's
cool.
My name.
I like that. Maria, what about you? The Ox.
It'd be Oxbow too, because my husband, I'd make him Oxbow 1 so he could show me how to operate the radio so I could communicate with all of you.
Johnny, what about you?
Well, a lot of times Paco's in the room with me, so my mom used to call us Jopo as a couple. So I think Jopo would be fine because it would kind of be both of us on the air.
It's great.
I like that. When we lived in Kenya, Nancy had a CB radio because it was the only way. We lived in a suburb called Karen, which was, if any of you have watched Out of Africa, Karen Blixen, that's not even her name. But anyway, she had this big plantation out there, and then we lived in what used to be and called back then the servants' quarters, which were all kind of done up into nice little cottages. And we lived in one, and then we lived in a different house in the same neighborhood, but it was all farming and agriculture, and it's beautiful. But I mean, we didn't have like phones that would really work throughout the neighborhood. In fact, I mean, it was in the 70s. And I think, Cliff, you're going to understand more of that kind of thing than most. While we were there, the way to communicate with each other in the neighborhood, because things did go off and crazy, weird things, was with CB radios or ham radio. We all had a radio, and that was like an emergency thing if something was going wrong. And Nancy named it Rubber Ducky. And so she would, this is the thing in Kenya, gin and tonics, isn't it, Nancy? Gin and tonics were the thing. I was a kid, gin and tonics. And somehow after people had a few gin and tonics, CB radios would line up across the neighborhood, and Nancy would be rubber ducky. So it's fun. I mean, I think people should have more handles like that, so it's a cool thing. Since this is happy hour, we've talked a little bit about music. We've talked about writing a little bit, travel for sure. But, I do want to close off with the happy hour question, which I don't even think, did we get to this last time? I don't know, Joe and Johnny. So anyway, that would be your CB handle together, Jojo. If you could have happy hour with anyone in the world, alive or passed on, right? So that you could learn something from them or be entertained or just hang out, right? It could be a family member. It could be someone famous. But if you could spend happy hour with anyone alive or passed on, who would it be? Where is that happy hour? Because Priscilla's, getting the bus going, and she has a way to teleport people if they're, passed on. We can bring them forward because she's, like I told you, multifaceted, multitasker. She can do anything, and she's pink, so that means she can do anything. So if you could have happy hour with anyone, who would it be? Where will it be? What are you going to have together for happy hour? Because it may change according to the person. And what do you want to talk to them about? Because that's the thing, is the conversation to have. And happy hours are really cool when you go into a bar and you don't know who you're sitting next to. Dive bars are fantastic for this. And then next thing you know, you have this conversation with someone you find all things in common. You learn from them. So let's do that. I want to start with you, Joe.
I knew you'd come to me first.
Yeah, well, have glass will travel.
Here you go. On the beach, and there's a red wine from Italy, and the name loosely translates into the blood of Christ, but it's a sweeter red wine. It was Daryl's favorite wine, and I would have it with him.
Very cool. Can you catch him up on life?
Yep.
Oh, yep.
Because I'm living the life we planned.
Ah, that's cool. That's cool. And the beach is good. I mean, beach wine is good, have the ocean, as your musical backdrop. That is cool. Well, Priscilla has dropped you off at the beach. You're going to have to find your way home. We can call you a cab or an Uber or a Lyft, whatever, but,
it's a two block walk.
Well, yeah, that's it. So don't drink too much wine. All right. You're good. You're good. Cliff, let's go to you. Who, what, and where?
Mr. William Shakespeare.
Oh.
And we're in Stratford-on-Avon, where he's from, or maybe London, where his theaters are. And we're having some wicked ale of some kind.
Yeah.
And fish and chips, I guess. I don't know what Willie ate back then, but I want fish and chips. And one of the things I'm going to ask him about is whether he really wrote all those plays, because, one of the things, Joe, you may know about this about Stanton, is we have this great Shakespeare theater here. And I've now seen every play that has been attributed to Shakespeare, but there's still a controversy about some of those. Maybe he didn't write, maybe he wrote some other ones. So the only person who really knows is Willie, and I want to ask him.
And apparently he was naughty too.
Well, then he should be fun to have some drinks with. So
I know, and I think you should give him a lot of extra drinks, and I don't think it's going to be hard to do, because I want the truth. I want to know this. There's all kinds of scandals around him. We just did an interview with Glenn Burrows from Norfolk Tours on Stratford-upon-Avon, and both of us looked at each other like, we did this in high school. We're going to get in trouble, right? And he didn't do so well in Shakespeare. And I went to so many different schools, and Macbeth kept everywhere I went, Macbeth. But I did get a gold star and the whatever highest thing, an award for being a witch in Macbeth. And so I did overcome William Shakespeare on my not doing so well with it. But I started really reading about him, and I'm like, dude, we don't know. And I wonder if it's about the age that we don't know. Like, because everything was hand me down. Like, how much can you believe even in newspapers? When you do research for a book, how much can you really believe if it's historically, did they write sensational things just to sell the newspaper, So anyway, yeah, I think that is dandy. Well, Cliff, we dropped you off at Stratford-upon-Avon because his wife's, Anne Hathaway's house is there too. So you might want to go visit her. She might tell you. You might be able to bribe her. I'm just saying.
By the way, she also has a house here in Stanton.
Does she?
Well, there's an English woman from Bath who built a replica of Anne Hathaway's cottage. It's got thatched roof and everything, and it's
Wow.
She ran it as a B&B for a while, then a tea house, and now I think she and her husband just live there. But it's pretty cool.
That is cool. Well, speaking of inns, let's go to Maria. Maria, who, what, where, why? What you talking about?
Goodness, there's so many interesting people throughout. I mean, that's a loaded question. I would like to go to.
This is why we have happy hour every month, and maybe more than once a month.
In the Bahamas, one of my contractors was showing me pictures of a place called Eleuthera. Have you been there?
Might have.
Yeah, it's very private island, and so I would love to have a happy hour there. But I would love to speak with somebody who has inspired me over the years. Is Tasha Tudor, who is an author, illustrator, gardener, live off the land, live without electricity. She's done lots of interesting things, and she died a few years ago at 99. But
wow.
She just did a lot of interesting things, and just my best recipes come from her.
That's cool.
And she had just had these lots of Tasha Tudor books. She's very interesting, kind of an odd duck woman, but I'd like to pick her brain. I can't picture her in the Bahamas, but that would even be kind of funny to see her in that setting. So,
are you going to have a Bahama mama with her?
Yeah, maybe.
I could use one now. Bahama mama sound good. Yeah, I like that. I like that.
When you were talking about music, I saw a meme recently, and it said that the music that we used to dance to is now the music that we clean to, and that is so true. When
Well, apparently everything I grew up with now is classic rock, so I'm not impressed with that. Not at all. Not impressed whatsoever. No. Judy, what about you? Who, what, and where? I mean, this is it. Now, Maria, you have to get your way back home from the Bahamas. Cliff, you're making your way back from England, but you might as well just get a head start in Ireland since you're there. Joe's at the beach. She loves the beach, so she's cool. Judy, where are we going?
I would do afternoon tea in Bath with Jane Austen.
Oh, here we go.
And you can leave me there. That's fine.
You're fine with that afternoon?
Get a ride home with Cliff.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you going to have fish and chips with Jane? Or scones?
No.
Finger
no,
sandwiches?
Just some scones and yeah, scones and tea will be plenty.
And jam. Are you going to spike your tea? Since it's wiki time, you can spike it. I don't know what you would spike it.
I don't know. It might be interesting getting Jane drunk and seeing what she said. Since she
Why do I have a feeling she would do absinthe? I don't know why I think that. Yeah, she might be an absinthe kind of girl. I don't know, but that sounds good. And you can listen to Kate Bush in the background. I don't know why. I don't know. It sounds good though. That sounds good. So do you like reading her books? You're a fan of her writing, obviously?
Yes. I've read all of her books.
Man, it's been
and
years
even the one
since
she didn't finish. I'm just about to finish the one she didn't finish.
Well, that's good. That's good. You can finish it for her. I like it.
You can ask her how it ends. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Cheryl, what about you? Where are we going? Where are we dropping you off?
I'm thinking Chicago.
Oh,
one of those classic old Chicago bars with, if these walls could talk kind of places with Barack Obama.
Oh, great.
Having a beer. Because I would love to know, it was such an exciting time when he was first elected. We were riding high. Yes, we can. And then, to end his tenure on such a different note, shall we say, with Donald Trump coming into the office. I just want to know how did he feel about that, and what were his coping strategies for, just that frustration of trying to get the kinds of things he wanted passed and not having the Congress go along with him. He faced so much difficulties, and he just seems to be like someone who has found peace with it all. And I'd like some insights on that.
Well, Judy, do you know what bar she should go to? Since you know Chicago.
There's so many different ones. Chicago has great food, great drink, great bars. So
okay.
You can go anywhere.
All right. There you go. It would be interesting. To me, I'd like to actually get all the presidents together and say, what the heck, man? What's going on? Can we fix everything now? But Cliff, thinks he may have met Barack Obama and maybe Michelle Obama, right? At some point.
Right.
Am I right on that?
Yeah, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So, the law firm that I worked for in Chicago, Michelle was a junior associate when I was a partner, although at the time I wasn't in the Chicago office. I was in a different office. And Barack was a summer associate in the Chicago office. So I believe I must have met Michelle at some point. Probably did not meet Barack.
Wow. And here's the other part of this. Cheryl's also an environmental lawyer. So we got law in here. Oh my gosh, we got law and order going on. Ooh, who should we arrest? I've got a list of people that we should arrest. Let's do that on a next happy hour show. Let's arrest people that we'll go around on the bus and arrest them, so that would be fun to do. Johnny, what about you? Who are we having happy hour with? And by the way, Cheryl, you got to go get some blues going on when you're in Chicago. You have to.
Absolutely. Right.
Have to. Buddy Guy's place, man. He's one of the best. Oh, and he's like on his last tour. Dang.
I think
blues
Barack
might
would
be
like
really
that
appropriate. Too. Yeah, I was going to say it might be really appropriate.
Yeah. Did you see the Anthony Bourdain episode when he, I think he was in Asia, right? Where he had a beer with Barack Obama.
No, I didn't see it.
Anthony Bourdain. It's a great episode. And I was like, no, wait, did you do that? You got to do that? And he did. He got to have, beer with the president. And I hate that Anthony Bourdain has moved on, but that's the way it is. So Johnny, where? Who, what, where?
Well, I would say, because I was just there a few days ago, Elysian Park in LA, it's got these sweeping views of Los Angeles and Dodger Stadium, and my dad loved crepe myrtles, and he planted some in our front yard, and they're blooming gorgeous right now. And whenever I see a crepe myrtle anywhere, I instantly think of my dad. And last time I picked my mom, and I think for me, when you say you want to learn something, as my dad died in '83, and since then there have been so many things that I wish I would have talked to him about, and so I would love a chance to just sit down with him and ask him family questions. And then, he was a minister, and I learned a lot about, God from him, and so just kind of talk about my spiritual journey over the years, and then also he and my mom both instilled a love of music in me that. After all these years, I would love to share with them what's happened with my music. And so, yeah, I think, and Dad, he wasn't much of a drinker, but he did love beer, especially when it's hot. So like today, he would totally be into a cold, like German beer. And so and you can have beer in Elysian Park. So we just sit under the crepe myrtles and just, maybe on an afternoon when the Dodgers are playing and we could see the game going on in the distance and just, catch up and talk about a whole range of things and laugh with them too. It'd be fun.
And I want a hot dog now. That's it. Just when you said that, it just feels like hot dogs and beer, and But then when you look at what's in hot dog, don't ever look at what's inside hot dogs. Cheryl will have to play music for you, right? Cheryl, do you have a playlist for what's inside our food?
Yeah,
like really
eating bad food.
Yeah, Maria, is there any such thing as a healthy hot dog at all? I don't think so, right?
The Dodgers have veggie dogs now. So.
There you go.
Hey, there it is. I do want to ask.
And
Maria,
you can actually roast a carrot and put it in a hot dog bun and put relish and ketchup on it, and it tastes it doesn't taste too bad, actually. Like a boiled.
Everything went quiet. Everybody got quiet. They were all like, yeah, well, listen, if you just saw what I made for dinner, and then, I don't know, I did something and anyway, it's called interesting whenever I cook. The word interesting comes out. And all I know is I did vegetable things that I've never done. It's not, it wasn't that bad, but this morning I had to put a lot of cheese on whatever I made that I thought for leftovers. It needs to be masked in cheese to be edible as a leftover. I wanted to ask you real quick, Maria, we were talking about Michelle Obama, Barack Obama. What did you think about the Victory Garden that she put in at the White House? Don't you think we should have the Victory Gardens as part of our presidential life? You know what I mean? I'm not being political or anything, because I don't want anyone arguing with anything, but I just believe honestly that we should have Victory Gardens to remind people to grow their own food, that we can do it. Yeah.
And it's a great example. Start from the top, whoever's in the White House, and set that example. And
exactly.
Yeah.
Grow those
Show
veggies.
that it can be done.
Exactly. Well, thank you all for having a fun Wiggy hour with us. It's Wiggy time. And, Johnny, you don't have that far to walk home, right? But you can get a Lyft or Uber real quick. But for the rest of you, enjoy your global journeys. Thank you all. And everyone's links are in the episode notes. For Johnny and his music, go to hearjohnny.com. For Cheryl, go to CherylLujan.com. Cheryl, am I pronouncing your last name right or wrong? Every time I'm like, what did I do it right or wrong?
I answer to any of it. I'm used to it.
She'll answer to anything. Okay. Well, be careful. It's happy hour. And then Judy Carnia as Karnia, judycarnia.com. And you can keep up with what she does in forest bathing and nature therapy, and also travel writing, as you heard. And also for Maria Chamberlain, innkeeper and owner of Oxbow Acres, go to oxbowacresnh.com. Learn more about her beautiful bed and breakfast. And for Cliff, go to cliffordgarstang.com. We want a full report, Cliff. You cannot go to Ireland and then come back without a full report. So we will keep up with you on that. Yeah, that's a big deal. And Judy, we want, Portugal stuff when you, because we know you're going back, and we want a Portugal follow up. And then everyone have glasswooltravel.com, probably one of the easiest websites to remember. So there is for Joe's writing. So keep up with her there. Thank you all so much, and cheers.
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 Thanks for joining us here on Big Blend Radio's Happy Hour podcast. New episodes air every second Monday and third Friday. Visit us at bigblendradio.com.